Okay, so here's the finished product. The glue has dried on the dust covers. And so this is what the full kit looks like once it has been completely assembled. Unfortunately, there are some flaws in my construction. The biggest one is that you see I've put on the wooden roof in the wrong place. This was supposed to actually be inside the edges of the wall and sort of flat, below the level of the ceiling, which means that the cover is never going to sit quite flat on mine. So don't make that mistake if you're assembling this kit. Another issue is that these LEDs are not of the greatest quality. You can see when I move the battery case, they flicker and flicker and flicker. I have a strong feeling that they're not going to hold up to very much use. Probably 5 or 10 times I'll be able to turn them on and I feel like they're gonna stop working. So that's unfortunate. This is a dust cover I put together and the glue has split on one side. So I think I'm gonna have to re-glue that if I can gather the initiative to do that. Also, you're gonna want to be quite careful when you're doing this because the glue smudges, which I made because I was working impatiently and I had glue on my fingers. If you have smudges of glue on this plastic, it's really gonna show up and you won't be able to clean it. So be careful if you're working on that. But anyway, so here's my little house. Oh, and I've made the tabletop crooked. I should not have put things on it while it was still drying. So it tilts this way a little, which is why my teapot keeps falling off. But, on the whole, it's a pretty cute kit. If I were to give a review for this kit, I would break it down into a few areas. So I would probably talk about quality, and I would talk about aesthetics, and I would talk about sort of the general experience of putting it together, and also the ease of assembly. So in terms of quality, I think that most of the pieces are pretty solid. Especially the little plastic props. I think they're pretty well made. They look nice. The leather on the couch, I don't really love the way it holds together. It doesn't respond super well to the adhesive and it gets quite flat and squishy. So that's one area where it doesn't quite look as nice as I would have liked. But I think part of that is down to me just not really knowing what I'm doing on this kit. The little rug here, a little bit chintzy, but I think on the whole the quality is pretty decent for, this was one of the lower priced sets available when I was shopping, so I'm reasonably happy with that, except of course for the LEDs. So I think that if you are making a kit like this yourself, it might actually be worth just buying a set of LED string lights that are from a good brand, and instead of their LED set, just replace it with one of your own. I think you'll have a better experience on the road. And these styrofoam flowers also, didn't really love those. They fall apart, they get everywhere, but the rest of the foliage is decently made and I think looks pretty nice. So in terms of quality, solid B+ probably. I think it's a reasonably well made set for the price. And if you're not using the set too much, if you're not treating it roughly, it should hold up okay. The pictures are very cute. Everything fits together pretty much the way it's supposed to. Here's my cat. He says hello. Belle, this is not your house. All right, so in terms of ease of assembly, you might have noticed that I had a few problems with the instructions in this kit. Basically, that's just because this was made by a Chinese company and translated a little bit inexpertly. So that's just how it goes with international products. I actually ordered this from Amazon Germany because I am located in Central Europe. And if I were not a native English speaker, I feel like I would have had a pretty difficult time sometimes figuring out what they wanted me to do. So maybe watch a walkthrough and learn from my mistakes if you're doing this yourself. Oh, here, this is the dust cover for the balcony, which I forgot about. Aesthetic, oh yeah. So this is pretty cute. Honestly, it looks like the picture looks. It looks like a place I would want to go to if it were a real room, which is why I picked it out. It looks nice sitting up on my bookshelf, so I don't really have any complaints with the look of the set. Overall experience, you know, basically I had a good time. So the definitely the parts that were easiest to assemble were the parts that were paper. So the little picture frames and stuff, I had no trouble with that. The little paper props were easy. The couch was reasonably easy to work with, this sort of leatherette fabric. That went together without too much trouble, although the cushions didn't quite turn out as nicely as I would have wanted to. The balsa wood was much more difficult to work with. I don't know what wood this is, you know, this lightweight wood stuff that they use. So you definitely need some kind of clamps if you're working with this, and you're going to need to be quite patient because it takes a long time for the adhesives to stick. The main issue I had with ease of use was these plastic plants. They were kind of a nightmare to work with. They did not want to stick together. Whenever I would stick them to something, they would fall down. And that goes back to something I forgot to mention in terms of quality, was that I do really wish that they had included a different kind of adhesive for the fabric and for the plastic, because the fabric and plastic do not really react super well with the latex glue. It does not work that well with them. So I think if I were making this kit again, we talked about it, my wife and I, we talked about it. And if we buy another kit like this, we're probably going to get some super glue just to make it easier to work with. But, you know, it was pretty satisfying to see it come together. I like that I was able to mostly get it correct, even though this was my first model kit. My wife has been watching and she says she's interested in doing a kit like this herself, which you might see later on this channel as a bit of a speed run. So I think this is a pretty good kit for a beginner, just with the caveat that you'll probably want to invest in some other glue, and you're going to want to take your time and really double check the illustrations, which are not always 100% self-explanatory. But overall, you know, I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm glad that I went with this one for my first one, and I'm definitely interested in trying some more little kits like this. So again, if you are interested in trying it out yourself, we have a purchase link, an affiliate link in the description of this video, and let us know if you give it a try and let us know how it goes for you. So thank you very much for joining us for this project, and we will see you in the next one. Have a good day.